How's it going, everyone? It's Eli with Common Sense. I hope you are having a fantastic week. I know mine's been pretty well, and I just gotta say, sometimes you just gotta give thanks when life is going good. For the majority of my videos, I've been covering a lot of fragrances, eau de parfums, extrait de parfums, basically anything you can spray. So I've been actually recently getting into a lot of fragrance oils and attars. So these are just pure fragrance oils that are super thick and kind of resinous and silky, and you can just apply some of it on your skin and it leaves a beautiful mark, and you can see the light kind of reflecting off of it. A lot of the times they're super strong and they just last a really long time. And it's just another really cool way to apply your fragrance. So today we're covering 3 different fragrance oil, attars, whatever you want to call them, from a new fragrance company called Yasmeen. So my buddy over at TripleTraders actually sent me a few of these to review. So we're going to check them out. I'm going to give you guys my unbiased opinion, and hopefully we're going to see how long these last and if they smell any good. Let's check them out. So first up on this list is Yasmeen's Roohi. And as you can see on the back, it also has the Arabic text. So this one's actually an 11 milliliter, 0.37 fluid ounce concentrated perfume oil. So this is something a little bit different from what I'm used to seeing, because, you know, a lot of the time you get either a 1 ounce, 1.7, 3.4 ounce. You basically just get these sprayable fragrances, but this is the concentrated perfume that you would basically see in a fragrance, but just really concentrated and without that extra alcohol to kind of make it a sprayable form. This stuff you actually get to lay on. As you can see, you have this tiny cool little glass container with a bunch of gold kind of designs on the front that looks pretty dang cool. And the cap has this really cool little gemstone on the top. So I'm relatively new to the world of attars, but I gotta say, I love the idea of just applying a thick fragrance oil to your skin and letting it soak in and just hit those kind of warm pulse points to let it just radiate off your skin and just kind of amplify itself. As you can see, this is a very thick oil that just sits in your skin and it lasts a really, really long time. So this one's actually quite interesting because it comes off very resinous and almost a little bit animalistic up top, depending on how much you use. So if you put a little bit on a strip or you use just a little bit on your skin, it's definitely a lot softer and you have that really nice kind of warm balsamic oudy tones. Like I said, if you put a ton of it on, it really gets into your nose and it starts to smell really earthy, musky, and sort of animalistic. Yeah, super musky and balsamic up top, but it really does take on that kind of dark and mineralic tone. You get a lot of that salty kind of mineralic musk for about an hour up top, and once that kind of dries down, it calms down, you definitely get a much more creamy, warm, and kind of oudy feel, almost like a bittersweet vibe. Yeah, I gotta say, it definitely stays balsamic for quite a while, probably about 1 to 2 hours, especially if you apply a lot of it. It just really amplifies off the skin. Fragrance oils do typically react a little bit different to everybody's skin and pH levels, but to my skin, it comes off a little bit acidic and a little bit balsamic up top. But once it kind of settles down on your skin and you apply maybe just a little bit less than I did, I kind of went a little bit overboard. But once it kind of comes down, you definitely get a more vanillic and comforting dry down. It still has that really cool spice and resinous vibe from the oud and the spices that are used here, but it really does capture that kind of Middle Eastern oud, but doesn't smell cheap. It's kind of interesting because I don't have anything in my collection that quite smells like this, because this one, it just has that really nice woody, deep and earthy, almost kind of a patchouli vibe, but the Middle Eastern oud definitely does come off really strong. I think I kind of describe the smoky oud and the kind of mineralic tones as almost like a pencil sharpener vibe, because you have a little bit of that energetic metallic vibe, but mixed with a really nice warm and kind of heat from the oud and the spices in here. Just really smooth and masculine once it finally does dry down though. The performance is really good on this one. I'd say it's about 4 hours or so that it projects really strongly, and you can kind of smell it at least from an arm length away. So longevity is a little bit strange on some of these perfume oils, at least for me, because on skin they last me about 8 hours or so, but if you use it on a tester strip, or if you put it like maybe in your hair, maybe your clothing, it can last over 12 hours, because I actually put a little bit of this oil on this fragrance strip last night and I still smell it like I just applied it. So really it all just depends on your skin chemistry and how it plays with this. So I think everybody's going to be a little bit different, but for me it's about 8 hours. Really interesting stuff, and I feel like a lot of people are going to like this if they want something smooth, oudy, and kind of vanillic in the dry down that has a little bit of that masculine kind of musky tone. You can pick this up for about $20 for this 11 milliliter, and that is Yasmeen's Roohi. I don't want to give you guys any spoilers, but these next two are definitely my favorites. And I think this one is my favorite. Yasmine's Habibi. So this one is definitely a more feminine leaning fragrance, but that does not mean that it's only for women, because I've actually worn this one quite a lot and I really, really like how vanillic and musky this one comes off. It's got a very interesting little mini bottle. It has these little stars kind of dripping from it and it just looks really cool. So this one you're actually getting slightly more. You're getting a 12 ml bottle, so 0.41 fluid ounce, and comes in this really cool little mini box and mini bottle. I definitely like the kind of gold and glass that you can see here, and you can see the levels of your fragrance. Habibi actually comes with this tiny little oil ball roller, but I have to say I was having a little trouble getting it to evenly spread onto my skin, and so what I did was I just took, you know, a couple pliers, I popped it off, and I have just this open bottle that you can, you know, screw on. I think it lays on a lot more even when you just kind of dab yourself with it. I'm gonna put just a little bit on my wrist. As you can see, this stuff lays on super thick. You see the light kind of catching off of it, and also low-key me just showing off my new Orient that I got. Love my watches. But my God, this stuff smells sexy. This is super vanillic, musky, and gourmand up top. It almost has a super rich and buttery kind of quality to it. Even as a guy, I don't mind wearing this because it smells super rich, kind of gourmand, and just powdery, and right up my alley. There's definitely a powdery, rich floral here that's not super headache inducing like some other women's fragrances I've smelled. It's done extremely nice here, and just the way that the warmth just kind of radiates off of your skin, and it smells just super buttery and kind of creamy at the same time. Almost like a fresh baked kind of gourmand vibe. Also notice that there's quite a bit of violet and white florals, so it gives off a super clean, almost soapy feeling, but again, it's not extremely floral and overwhelming. Just a little bit of supporting kind of creamy florals. But as this kind of dries down, you get a little bit more of a chocolatey, kind of coconutty musk. So it's a really interesting kind of trifecta. You get that kind of deep chocolate gourmand that definitely radiates a little bit of that kind of sweetness. It smells really sexy and inviting and kind of invigorating. But at the same time, the coconut and the musk make it smell really creamy, lactonic, like I said, and just really, really approachable. Like if somebody was wearing this and I got next to them, I would definitely want to lean in for a smell, you know? It just has that really inviting and warm quality to it that you just can't help but to smell. As it dries down, you lose a little bit of that kind of buttery quality, but it does remain very chocolatey and creamy at the bottom. Just super pleasing and something that I would not mind smelling every day of my life. Really good stuff. I imagine a very confident woman or anybody who just wants to smell fun and invigorating, I imagine them wearing this and just it lasting a really long time. This one lasts a lot longer than Roohi. I'd have to say it lasts around 11 hours on my skin. And again, if you put it in your hair or on some of your clothing, like on the inside of your coat, it'll definitely help you get a little bit more mileage. But man, I can't say enough good stuff about this stuff. This stuff is amazing. But like the last one, this one's 20 bucks for a 0.41 fluid ounce and a 12 milliliter. I got it. Ha, excellent stuff here. And that one is Yasmine's Habibi. Last but not least, Yasmine's Musk Tahara. This stuff is no joke. It feels like you get an industrial sized bottle, 100 ml of pure fragrance oil. We're gonna open this up. I know, I'm a menace opening from the bottom. Look at how huge this bottle of just pure concentrated perfume oil is. It feels like I'm opening up like medicine because you have this really giant cap and you have this plug that you get to pop off. Man, this stuff is extremely viscous, thick, and really good smelling. I'm actually gonna apply some from the little stopper plug that came with it. My God, that is so thick. Look at that even oily application. Man, that just goes on super strong. All right, I'm gonna dip my tester strip in and I want you to see how thick this stuff is. Look at this. Man, this stuff smells really clean, floral, and aquatic. It's funny, I have two tester strips. I have one that I just dunked, as you saw, and this one has been sitting around for almost 24 hours, and it still smells just as strong as the one that I just dunked. So the stuff is really strong, especially on fabrics and on the tester strips. But man, you get a super delicate and clean musk, and it's also got a little bit of a green kind of aquatic backbone from this. I'm also getting a little bit of a root beer vibe, just kind of real sweet, a little bit rooty, but at the same time very clean and kind of creamy. Actually, no, that's because I'm smelling it right next to the Habibi. These would be great layering because it smells really good. It smells like a creamy, clean cream soda. That's interesting. Man, I'm almost getting a little bit of a petrichor kind of vibe from this. Yeah, that's kind of smell that you get, especially after it rains. You get that kind of wet concrete, kind of wet earth smell. It just smells really clean, soapy, but also earthy and musky at the same time. I feel like this could be a really relaxing choice to put kind of on your neck, you know, on your kind of pulse points, especially after you take a nice hot shower, your pores open up and you just have this really nice, clean, kind of musky, powdery smelling Musk Tahara to kind of layer on yourself. So far, this one is a close second to Habibi. I love that one, but this one just carries that really clean, kind of musky vibe at the same time. I mean, I love how soapy and clean it smells, especially on the skin. You know, it does smell a little bit different on the tester strip versus the skin, but I think that warmth of your body brings out some of those kind of creamy florals, and it definitely makes it smell a lot more just musky, clean, and kind of soapy. So projection on this one's actually pretty good. It's about 3 to 4 hours, which is to be expected from some of these fragrances, but around the 8-hour mark, it becomes more of a skin scent, at least for my body chemistry. So funny story, I actually wore this, you know, and about after that 8 hours, I could barely smell it. I could still smell a little bit of that kind of clean musk, but funny enough, I went to go take a shower, and once that water hit my skin, it's almost like it did the complete opposite of what I thought. Instead of washing it off, it almost amplified the scent. I don't know the science behind that, but once water hit this, it's almost like it gave it another 4 hours or so. So really, this can last anywhere from 8 to maybe 12 or 13 hours. So really, it's kind of a mystery. This stuff is really unisex. I feel like anybody can wear this one, especially if you want something real clean, kind of powdery and soapy. But again, if you're a musk lover, I think you're gonna love this. But the best part about this stuff is it's $25 for 100 ml of this beautiful oil. I've actually seen some people use this on their clothing or put a little bit in when they're washing their clothes. I can't really attest to that because I'm too afraid that it'll stain, you know, any of my clothing with a little bit of oil, but people have said that it lasts a really long time and they can still smell it on their clothes the next day. So a lot of this stuff is super strong and it will last quite a long time. And that one is Yasmine's Musk Tahara. So there you have it, 3 new fragrance oil concentrates straight from the house of Yasmeen. All in all, I really like what the brand is doing. You know, you have this really thick, viscous, and high quality smelling fragrance oil that you can just layer on yourself right out of the shower at the beginning of a day, or even just put a little bit on your clothes if you're adventurous. But I'm really excited to discover more fragrances from the house of Yasmeen, which also will be coming up right after this one. So stay subscribed and stay tuned for that one. But I can't wait to discover more kind of perfume oils and attars in the future. But that does it for today's video. Thank you so much for joining me. And if this was your first time checking out the video, I would love to extend a warm welcome to you. Thank you for checking out the channel, and every viewer out there, you guys are awesome and you're the reason why I do this. And to my regulars, you guys are awesome. I've been Eli with Common Sense, and until the next time, bye-bye. I'm not gonna say nothing.